Good evening, folks. Welcome to Atlanta Motor Speedway for the WOSCRL Throwback Series, race number 3. We've had a week off thanks to Thanksgiving. I hope you all had a good holiday, and we're back at it with the 87 cars here tonight for round number 3 in the series. We have a 1.5 mile oval here, pretty fast track with high banking. The big cars run here all the time. Obviously, you NASCAR fans will be well aware of this. It is 89 degrees Fahrenheit here this afternoon, 56% relative humidity with a clear sky and 11 mile an hour winds. May hurt them a little bit here and there. We have a track temperature of 97 degrees Fahrenheit, which makes for a fairly hot track and could end up giving the drivers a little bit of trouble due to slippery conditions, as a hot track means that all the rubber comes up and the grease and everything comes loosening up a little bit, and it sometimes makes the track a little bit more slippery than they would really want to. All right, folks, let's go and check on these drivers here. We've got a couple more minutes to go in practice. We see Russell Bratka leading the timesheets here. We've seen several drivers, as you are seeing right now, getting into trouble here. And once they get in trouble, they get in trouble. Oh boy. Drew Ballesteros is your second place driver on the timesheets here tonight. We have 15 drivers that have posted times in practice, but we have three more of them: Bobby Patrica, Tristan Yuda Ferris, and Lee Tidwell. I believe we have some new names here. I don't remember Lee Tidwell, and I also believe that we have Bruce Pearson, a new driver here in the number 20 car. Well, maybe he was here before. Can't remember. And let's see, we have Jacob Wobry. He is back again. Todd Liston's back again. So unfortunately, I cannot bring you the graphics on the screen about the point standings. This is race number 3 in the series, folks. And after 2 rounds, it is Drew Ballesteros that you're looking at right now, who has the lead in the championship with 76 points. Then it is Chris Stouffer. Here he is in the number 13 Old Milwaukee car. He has got 72 points, so he's pretty close to Ballesteros. And then we have Manger. Let me see if he's here. I haven't seen him yet. Manger has 67 points. Todd Liston has 65 points. And then we have Underwood. Have not seen Underwood just yet. And Doran, we do have Luke Doran here, but he's not on track currently, so I can't show you his car. He is in a shared 5th position with Underwood with 64 points. So Ballesteros, Stouffer, Manger, Liston, Underwood, and Doran. That is your current top 6 in the point standings, as we currently see 15 drivers now posting times during the practice session here. Sean Mouzakis in the 86 car is the 15th position at this point. Ooh, we saw, right there we see Sean going around, having a little trouble with that back end with his Ford Thunderbird. So what else can I tell you, folks? We're going to get into qualifying here in about a minute. 2 laps of qualifying individually done. That means that the drivers cannot see each other. We can pick up anybody that is active, and after that we'll be going into the race, and the race will be 160 laps here tonight at Atlanta Motor Speedway. If we need it, we have one green white checkered we can use if there is a yellow right before the finish. These drivers have a fixed setup on these cars. That means that they can't really change all that much except for the brake bias and the steering ratio. They do not have any fast repairs, so any damage that they sustain is going to have to be dealt with through repairs in the pits. And obviously iRacing calculates repairs as to their severity, and that obviously the driver will have to decide whether to stay in the pit a long time at once, or he can split it up in several pit stops to try and avoid to go down a lap. All right, practice has come to a conclusion, folks. We're going to go into qualifying here at Atlanta Motor Speedway with these beautiful 1987 Cup cars that iRacing has brought back to life in a most great way. I can't imagine driving those cars in real life, let alone ever looking at one, and iRacing makes it possible for us to have a lot of fun with these machines on racetracks and driving them in their original form. Obviously, a car like that would be a collector's item, a museum piece by now, but we get to play around with them, and it doesn't even matter much if we put it in the wall. We can race them hard, and they are a bunch of fun to drive. They're a little bit more heavy and a little bit more loose and less grippy than the modern cars. Drafting is a little bit different, feels a little bit different for these cars, so they're a little bit more of a handful to drive for these guys. And I will say in this WOSCRL Throwback Series, sponsored by Future Designs Building Materials, these guys have been doing a phenomenal job. They're very good at what they're doing. So hats off to these guys. They've been running on the Daytona track and the Phoenix track before, and this time it is a modern track because iRacing also has the old Daytona before it was resurfaced and the old Phoenix before it was changed with the dogleg. They've used the older tracks previously, but this is the first modern track they're getting onto. It looks like Russell Bratka is quickest in qualifying so far, with Chris Stouffer in second position there in that number 13 car. Drew Ballesteros is in third position at this point. Jacob Wobry is in fourth. Nicholas Post in the Napa machine, he's in fifth. And let's see, we have Bruce Pearson here in the number 20 car. He's in sixth position. Lee Tidwell has qualified. Well, he's dropping down to eighth at this point, and Sean Mouzakis is in seventh. It looks like we have Lawrence Shaughnessy still on track trying to get a lap time in. There he is. He pumps himself up to the fifth position as Luke Doran has moved himself into fourth in that number 4 car. Ooh, look at him getting loose there and unable to save that car, and I believe that would be his second lap that he ruined. You have to run the qualifying laps cleanly. They will disallow the time. iRacing will disallow the time if you touch the wall or go off track or anything like that. There we have Tristan Udaferis in that green number 10 car, and he is still trying to get a lap in here tonight for qualifying, as is Pete Albin. He's out on track. We have another 2 more minutes to go. Skylar Grissom, one of the organizers of the league, there he is in that number 24 machine. He is getting ready to go out here to qualify for his race. Jim Foskett has brought it up into the 7th position there with a 32.306. And we are awaiting Tristan, his qualifying attempt. First lap, 33.015, puts him in 12th position and final position. And there goes his second lap, unfortunately. Pate Albin in the 55 car. He is still out there trying to get started on a lap here. It looks like he is getting ready to come across the line. Oh, that car feels pretty loose to me. You can see that back end sliding around a little bit. And Pate Albin's first lap was a 32.495, puts him in 8th position. Pretty good attempt here. Tristan Udaferis is still racing, rolling around the track there. Todd Liston has brought it out on track as well. Still waiting for a lap time from Todd. There it is, 33.463. That puts him in 15th position, and Pate Albin is working on his second lap there, and he is going to improve his lap time, but not his position. All right, let's take a look at Todd Liston. He is on his final lap as qualifying comes to a close here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. I like how he is kept that paint job in retro look as well. A lot of these drivers have paint jobs that date back from those days as well. So cool series here tonight on Saturday nights on Short Shift Broadcasting. There we go, folks. We are getting ready to grid them up and get going for the race. Let's bring up the grid for you real quickly, as the drivers will be getting ready on the pit road. No, on the racetrack, actually. We have Russell Bratka on pole with Chris Stouffer alongside. Ballesteros and Doran on the second row. Shaughnessy and Liston on the third one. Wobry and Foskett on the fourth row. Albin and Pearson on the fifth row. Post and Grissom on the sixth row. And then we have the seventh row with Mouzakis and Tidwell. Then we have Ferris and Shelton on the eighth row, and Patricia and Jay Malin on the ninth row. And that should be our grid here for tonight, folks. Some 160 laps of racing coming at us here from Atlanta Motor Speedway series, once again brought to you by Future Designs Building Materials. And we are grateful for having them on board, sponsoring the series here. And we've been watching some good races, the first 2 races, and I expect no different here tonight. Russell Bratka in that number 11 car. There you have him. He is getting ready to go. We can We'll patiently wait with him here, and as you can see on the interior of this machine, iRacing has a lot of eye for detail. Even the little fan that cools the feet of the driver is in there, as you can tell. All right, it looks to me like we're still waiting for Skylar Grissom. He should be in that gap there right in front of, let me see, Lee Tidwell. There should be a car there. That would be the 24 car. There he is. He pops into the grid there. And that looks like we have all of them, folks. Andrew J. Malin there in the 44 machine on the left side of your screen behind the flagman tower there. We are getting ready to get going. The formation lap is on its way. One formation lap on this 1.5-mile track. Let me see. I hope you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. Looks like we have a little bit of a connection issue here and there, but I believe everything's okay now. There we have the field rolling behind the pace car coming out of turn 2 onto the backstretch, folks. Russell Bratka leading them around. Chris Stouffer on his outside. Then it's championship leader Ballesteros and Luke Doran, 6th place in the championship in that number 4 car on the high side. And then we have Shaughnessy and Liston on the 3rd row. Pace car should be diving in here fairly shortly. There the pace car goes in.
Green, green, green.
Radio call is out. We are racing here at Atlanta Motor Speedway in the WOSCRL Throwback Series, and it is Russell Bratka that keeps his leading position here in that number 11 car. Let's see how the high side feels for some of these drivers. It looks like the field is already stretching out a little bit, and it looks like Chris Stouffer on that high side had a very good exit off turn number 2 and blasting past Russell Bratka there, taking the lead in that number 13 car. And then it's Luke Doran that is in 3rd. We have one car that got into trouble there a little bit. I believe what has happened to him. He's got 2 wheels on the apron there, and that's grass. You don't want to be there. Then he does it again, loses a little bit of speed. Hopefully he can get it back under control. Live again, we are looking at Chris Stouffer leading the pack here with Bratka in 2nd. Ooh, Bratka getting a fishtailing of that back end there. That car feels pretty loose. Probably the tire's not quite up to temperature yet. Doran in the 3rd position, and Ballesteros in the Thunderbird running the fastest lap of the race so far. You can see that as the lap time is printed in purple there on the left side of your screen. That means he is quicker than anybody else in the entire race. Shaughnessy in the number 3 car is behind him there, looking pretty sharp with that machine too. He's actually got a 9 on the paint job. He's being scored as number 3. Ballesteros in the number 22 car. Looks like the top end of the field here is close together. Bratka right behind Stouffer, catching that draft, especially on the backstretch. That is very helpful, obviously. Luke Doran also in a Chevy. It looks like we have 3 Chevys up top, with 1/4 of Ballesteros in 4th position, and then another bunch of Chevys. Stouffer still leading the race here, and Bratka hanging on. He is not letting Stouffer out of his sight. And it looks like we have some shuffling back here. It looks like Post has passed Jim Foskett in the 47 Thunderbird. The gaps between the cars are staying somewhat equal, but they're still very close together. The field is still extremely close. Look at that. They're all in one long line. There's barely any drivers where the difference between the man in front is more than a second. Very, very competitive field at this point. Stouffer still leading the pack there. In that 13 Monte Carlo. And that is the man behind him, Russell Bratka, also in a Monte Carlo. And you can see these older cars are having a lot more body movement on a track. Even on a modern track like this, they have a lot more suspension movement, body movement, and they're slip sliding around a heck of a lot more. They're not easy to drive at all. Looks like Bratka and Stouffer are pulling away a little bit from Ballesteros in third position. Ballesteros has taken over that position from Duran. There is the number 4 car in the Red Bull livery. Shaughnessy looks like he is climbing forward in that number 9 car as well. Then it's Mowbray in the 51. Skylar Grissom has made up 5 positions since the start of the race. So Skylar is doing a very good job here, moving that 24 Chevrolet forward. Todd Liston has dropped off a little bit in the 87 car. Another big gainer that we see here is the number 44 Valvoline machine of Andrew J. Malin. He has brought it up 6 positions already since the start of the race, and he is running in the 12th position at this point. Behind him, it is Jim Foskett. And the only driver that has quite a bit of distance to the man in front of him is Sean Mouzakis at this point. He is 2.4 seconds behind Tristan Uda-Ferris. Let's bring you back up front here. This is Chris Stouffer in the number 13 car, leading Russell Bratka, and it looks like Drew Ballesteros is trying to close that gap towards Bratka, and he is looking to be doing that pretty quickly. Doran is about 4/10 of a second behind. Shaughnessy catching up to Doran in that number 9 machine. Beautiful paint job on that Monte Carlo he's got there. And Skylar Grissom already up into 7th position. There we have our leader, Stouffer, 11 laps in of 160. I am not 100% sure what the fuel window is, but I'm fairly sure we'll get that figured out during the race. There we have Bratka coming to the inside and taking the lead in a pretty bold move. Chris Stouffer really doesn't have that much of an answer other than keeping it on the high side. Ballesteros is coming. Ooh! That was Bratka going a little bit sideways there, trying to keep it on the bottom line. And it looks like Stouffer is defending his 2nd position from Ballesteros hard now. Bratka back into the lead. Looks like that 13 likes it up high, but right now he's just tugging in behind Bratka to try and keep that draft. Let's ride along here with, I meant to go 1 car back here. This is Chris Stouffer you're riding along with. And I like the message on the leading car there from Bratka. Bikers again, child abuse. Hoping everybody is against child abuse, but any help we can give them, give kids that are being abused, is obviously a good thing. Ooh, looks like Stouffer has got to let off the gas there a little bit. We have an incident. Let's go and find out really quickly what we have going on. It looks like we have Bobby Petricka involved in a crash. No, it's actually the 86 that gets this stuff going. That is Mouzakis. Let's Let's bring that back a little bit further here, folks. This is where the 86 is getting in trouble, washing up on the track. It looks like he just missed his entry point there, and then bouncing around, taking the 25 with him. That is Bobby Petricka. Unfortunately, he had no place to go there, and as you can see, that 86 is pretty damaged. He's trying to keep it off pit road. He doesn't want to go into a closed pit. It looks like the 25, ooh, and then he has trouble getting it back in the right direction again. And, oh, there is a reverse on that car, bud. Meanwhile, the 25 of Petricka is on pit road, and the 86 is trying to get back underway. It's not going all that easy. The 51 taking evasive action there. That is Jacob Wobry. And I would say that Sean is going to have to hold his position here. Stouffer bringing it. Nope, he was looking like he was going to go to pit road, but he changed his mind. And sometimes if they run a very low line there at the pit entry point, the scoring system will pick it up as if they're going in, but they're basically just running a low line. Russell Bratkas still your leader. We have Petricka on pit road. I'm not sure what the deal is for him. We can bring up that car map, the track map here. Important for him is, well, he's already 2 laps down because of it. They've already passed him by there, and he may not be coming back. That's very unfortunate. It was absolutely not his doing. Sean Mazakis lost his car. He had nowhere to go, so very unfortunate result for Bobby Petricka. Hopefully he can get that car fixed and put some more laps in. We'll have to wait and see. Lap number 16 of 160, folks. Drew Ballesteros now in second position. Chris Stouffer in third, and it looked to me like his tires were starting to fall off a little bit. The difference between the brand new tires and the older ones on these cars is not that spectacular, which would explain that he doesn't see any gain in going into the pits after 16 laps. Luke Doran in the number 4 car in 4th position. Shaughnessy in the number 9 in 5th. Then it is Wobry. Grissom still in 7th. His progress has halted in 7th position, it seems. Then we see Bruce Pearson in that number 20 car in 8th. It looks like those guys are getting ready to line them back up. The lights on the pace car are still on, so let's go and look at 9th position there. That is the 87 of Todd Liston, and then Pate Albin in the 55 is rounding out your top 10. Sean is now on pit road, getting some new rubber underneath that car. It does look like he had some of that damage repaired, but the car does not look like it originally did. Bobby Petricka is still standing on pit road, and it wouldn't surprise me if he would call it a night. 17th lap. And another big gainer, once again, folks, is Andrew J. Malin in that number 44 Valvoline machine. He is up 7 positions from the start. So very good. He started on the final row, and he's worked his way forward quite significantly here. And as you can see, the lights on the pace car have been turned off. It looks like we're staying single file as we would in those years. Not sure how that sound comes into your living room, but in my headset, it sounds pretty good. I love those old engines. And you can see some of the drivers waving left and right a little bit. They keep trying to keep some heat in those tires. The pace car will be coming down. And it looks like Ballesteros is eager to get this race back underway. Going into lap number 19, folks, the pace car will be coming in. There he goes, and it is up to Russell Bratka to get this show back on the road. There we go. Ooh, he's got a good jump on the start. What happened to Ballesteros? Did he spin his wheels there? Ooh, Skylar Grissom has to go on the brakes. That looks like Drew has some sort of a technical issue at home with the steering wheel, or maybe the monitor going away or something like that. Why would he otherwise slow down? And it's a good thing that everybody could avoid him, but it was a costly incident for Skylar as well. He dropped back to 15th position trying not to run into Drew. And we can commend him for not doing that and making sure that, you know, a big mess was avoided. But it looks like it's a good thing for Russell Bratka, because everybody behind Drew had to get off the gas, and Bratka now has 1.4 seconds of a lead. Look at that, what a lead. He's got there on Chris Stouffer, and Stouffer is leading the pack here in that second position with the number 13 car. Luke Doran is behind him. Then it's Jacob Volbury, Pearson, Shaughnessy, Liston, Albin, Jamalin, and Post round out your top 10. And that little dot on the far end there, that is the leader. 1.5 seconds away from this man, Chris Stouffer, in the number 13 car. And looking out the back of his car, we are looking at the number 4 of Luke Doran. No, it looks like Stouffer's got a good run off the turn here. Pulling away from Doran a little bit, about a couple of car lengths. And then it's the 51 of Volbury. Shaughnessy has Bruce Pearson on the high side in that number 20 car. And it looks like that high side's not working for Bruce. He's not gaining on Shaughnessy, and it looks like he's got Pearson coming to his inside now in that 87 car. Skylar Grissom already picked up a couple positions. He's in 13th. Drew Ballesteros is still driving, so whatever issue he had has most likely been resolved. Somebody actually did run into the back of him, which is understandable. Sean Mazakis is back out there as well, running one lap down on the entire field. And Bobby Petricka is... oh, he's back out again as well. Wow. 6 laps down, but soldiering on, trying to score some points. You never know what's going to happen. Russell still quite a ways out there, but that advantage is shrinking. It went from 1.5 to 1.2 seconds, so Stouffer is definitely gaining on Bratka. And Luke Doran is staying with Stouffer at about 0.3 of a second, quite nicely. Field is obviously quite stretched out because of that incident with Ballesteros, and a lot of people had to get on the brakes there at that restart. That's why you see some of these gaps. Grissom still in 13th position, now closing in on Jim Foskett. Jamalin in 8th position. He is up 10 positions since the start of the race. Doing a very, very good job there in that number 44 car. Let's ride along with him for a little bit. And And as you can see, folks, these guys are working that steering wheel a lot more than in the modern Cup cars. Cars are just sliding around a little bit more. They're heavy. There is a lot more suspension travel. I'm not sure if you can hear the scrubbing of the asphalt there, but slip sliding a heck of a lot more than the modern cars. There we see Jamalin going past Bruce Pearson. And that is Bruce right behind him there. And now it looks like he's working his way past Todd Liston. Ooh, two wheels on the grass. Looks like he's keeping it under control, but that was a little bit of a hairy moment there. And it looks like Andrew is slotting into the 6th position now in front of Todd Liston, up 12 positions since the start of the race. So Andrew Jamalin is doing a fantastic job working his way forward. And meanwhile, up front, we have Russell Bradkas losing more and more of the advantage that he had on the restart there. Stouffer has brought it down to 7/10 of a second behind Bradka, and Doran is losing just a little bit of ground on Stouffer. Let's go and check on Skylar Grissom, up to 11th already. He has picked up another 2 spots there, and now he is closing in on the 55 of Pate Elbin. And he's not quite close enough yet. It looked for a minute that he was, but he wasn't. Let's ride along with Skylar Grissom for a little bit. Staying on that middle line here. Sometimes drivers like the higher line because it's obviously a less tight radius and it relieves the tires a little bit. Jim Foskett behind Grissom there in the 47 car. And Petricka is still rolling along. Lap times aren't even all that bad considering the damage on that car. He's only about a couple of tenths, well, maybe half a second slower than the leader here, Bratka. So that tells you that the damage is not too bad. Obviously, the airflow around these cars is not as smooth as on the newer cars. The streamline of these bodies is a heck of a lot less, obviously. And let's see, we have Pate Elbin going past Todd Liston there. Ooh, Skylar going through the grass. He is definitely closing in on the 87. And he's already coming alongside, sticking that nose underneath. Can he get it there? Yes, he can. He's putting it there in turn number 3, forcing the 87 to the high side. Oh my goodness, the 87 got really loose going in there. Let's just look at that real quickly. Oh, washes into the wall. And Todd Liston does a really good job of saving that machine. But he did lose the position to both Grissom and Foskett at this point. Then we have, oops, that was the wrong button. We have the number 15 car, that is Ben Shelton. He has worked his way up into 12th position now. And it looks like everything is fairly stable up at the front. Bratka is still about 7/10 of a second ahead of Christopher. And Doran is still about 6/10 of a second behind Stouffer. Then it is Shaughnessy, Wobry, and there's some room between all of them. Andrew J. Malin has brought himself into 6th position. Skylar Grissom now in 10th again, so he basically had to start all over. Drew Ballesteros is still rolling. Lap times are not too bad. He is still rolling and he is in 16th position. Lee Tidwell in the 42 car. He's ahead of him by about 2.3 seconds, and it looks like Ballesteros is gaining and catching back up to the field. But obviously Drew has his work cut out for him there. Lap number 37 of 160. We can take a look through the field here. Luke Doran still in third, Shaughnessy in fourth, and we have Muzakis slow on the track. Looked for a minute like he was going into the pits. Let's see what happened here. He is missing all sorts of speed. He's on the apron. That car doesn't even want to run in a straight line very nicely anymore, so I hope he's... he hasn't been in the pits yet. Only that one time on lap 15, but now he's back up to speed again, it looks like. Ballesteros catching up with the 87 and passing him fairly quickly. The 87 has dropped off quite a bit at this point. That right side may have been damaged a little bit. The tires may not feel all that good anymore. So Drew Ballesteros is getting back into the groove of things and starting to pass people. He is now running behind Post in that Napa car. Ooh, Post is having some issues here. Saves it from going around, but it looked like he was getting ready to lose it. Oh, it looks like these tires are just completely gone. He is actually right now coming down pit road. Muzakis off track once again. That car is just not running right. He needs to get that fixed. Right now, he's just basically a moving chicane for all the other drivers. Bratka still in the lead. He is still about 0.7 of a second ahead of Stouffer, so he's keeping that pretty consistent there. And Luke Doran still about 0.5 second behind Stouffer, also keeping that fairly consistent. Then it is Shaughnessy, and then 2.5 seconds further down is Andrew J. Malin. He's picked up 5th position from Tristan Udeferis. 13 positions up since the start. He's doing a phenomenal job. And it looks like his lap times are under the 34-second mark, like the guys in front of him. Ballesteros in 13th. He's passed Lee Tidwell. Todd Liston going down pit road, and it looks to me like he's coming in there fairly heavy. Hopefully he didn't get a speeding penalty there. It looks like he is fighting that car a little bit right now, so he wants new rubber and maybe get a little bit of that damage fixed up. Jacob Wobry following him in the 51 car. And Bratka still leading the race. Not much change up front. Stouffer still, well, it fluctuates a little bit obviously, but it's about 0.8 of a second now. Lap times are pretty close together. Stouffer and Doran, the exact same lap time on the last lap there. Wobry, meanwhile, is coming out. Todd Liston is still in the pits. He is having that damage worked on probably. And Muzakis is back out. Hopefully he can keep that car running in a straight line. That would be the minimum requirement, I would think. Let's check on Skylar Grissom in 9th position here, running behind Pate Elbin. And behind him, it is Jim Foskett that is actually now coming underneath there. Skylar Grissom probably also starting to feel those tires slipping away from him. Obviously, having to go through the field twice has probably cost him some of that rubber. Ben Shelton in that number 22. I'm sorry, number 15. Then it's the 22 of Ballesteros in 12th position right now and gaining on the men in front. And it kind of looks to me like everybody is starting to feel those tires slip away. Everybody is a little bit less stable and less straight coming off those turns. Damage on the back end for Ballesteros doesn't seem to hurt him all that bad. There he goes underneath the Thunderbird of Ben Shelton. Ballesteros passing Skylar Grissom for the 10th position. So, yeah, I do believe that 24 is in a little bit of trouble with the tires at this point. Ben Shelton is coming towards him as well. There, it looks like he is going as fast backward as he was going forward. Lee Tidwell passes him as well. Skylar doesn't want to go into the pits under green, but he may have to, and he actually does. He is coming in at lap number 49 for new rubber and fuel. Your leader still carrying on. Stouffer has had an issue. Yeah, he's got some damage on the right rear there. He's had an issue. He may have scrubbed the wall somewhere because Doran has passed him. And Stouffer is now in 3rd position. We can try and see if we can catch that moment. Here is the moment of Stouffer being passed by the number 4, but the issue is probably a little bit before that. That just didn't register as an incident. But there is how Stouffer lost his. And meanwhile, Doran has taken over the lead. We can bring that back as well, obviously. This is where that is happening. He's going around the outside. So Doran is on a move, man on a mission. Russell Bradka also starting to feel that car slip away from him. And let's see, we have Pate Albin losing the position. We have Jay Balin going down pit road in that number 44 Valvoline machine. Shaughnessy has taken it to pit road and already back out. So we're seeing some green flag pit stops here. And let's take a look at the amount of laps that we've done on this fuel tank. That kind of tells you that it's going to be time for everybody to come in. There's Christopher, Pate Albin, Ben Shelton, and Andrew J. Malin on his way back out. Doran and Bratka are still moving along. Lap times still seeming pretty okay here. Up at the top is 33.6. Bratka 33.9. Tristan Udeferis 33.6. Then Foskett 34. So these lap times are not all that bad considering how many laps we've already done on these tires. We see Sean Masakis still in some trouble, not quite running the same pace as everybody else. Patrika is actually doing a little bit better. Lap times for Musakis are they're not horrible, but it still looks like he's got some issues with that machine. Bratka in the pits, and Bratka is almost losing it here on the entry of pit road. Yeah, locks it up under braking there. Hopefully he didn't get a speeding penalty. Bruce Pearson also on pit road. They were jacking those cars up high back in the day. A lot more suspension travel, and the wheels obviously have to be off the ground to get them off. Pearson back out in the number 20 Crown machine. Bratka, inside tires. There he goes, back out again. Doran in the lead, has not been in the pits yet. The first 5 cars at this moment have not been in the pits yet. That is Doran, Udeferis, Foskett, Ballesteros, and Lee Tidwell.
The yellow flag is out.
Oh, and this is in their advantage. The yellow flag has come out, and it is the 44 that goes around. Let's bring it back a little bit further and see what's going on here. And he's on, he washes up into the wall and then gets it off balance. Can't save it. And that is hard in these cars, I can tell you. Looks like, he kept it off the wall and then he gets hit by somebody else, luckily landing on his wheels, otherwise he would have had to take a tow. I believe that was the number 22 there that got into him. Yeah, that's the number 15, I'm sorry. That is Ben Shelton that ran into him. Luke Doran now coming into the pits. Everybody that hasn't been there is obviously coming down pit road. It's going to help them a little bit because the field is not at speed as they are pitting. They're going to lose some track position, but a little bit less than they would have, obviously, when the field would have been on full speed. So the yellow comes at a good time for those who had not pitted earlier. Taking all 4s there. Luke Doran and Ballesteros, same thing. Doran comes back out and is still in the lead. That is the advantage of a slow field. Tristan Udeferis still in second. Jim Foskett back out in third. Stover will pick up 4th position. Tidwell will pick up 5th coming out of the pits. Ballesteros will be in 6th position. So yeah, these guys that pitted late, they are being helped by that caution pretty good. We have Pate Albin on pit road, Ben Shelton on pit road. Patrica going back out. The car doesn't really even look all that bad. He's hanging in there. 6 laps down. Everybody getting a little bit of a break here under yellow. Lap number 60 of 160. Closing in on the halfway mark. And we can kind of see right now we've had longest stints so far on fuel have been 58 laps. And it's a little hard to tell because they may have been able to run a few more laps. So right around 60 laps is probably what it's going to be. Quite a few back markers between Luke and the pace car, so those cars will all be going around. That means that they're close to a lap down or more.
Hang on, we're not going green, not going green.
Alright, radio call is not going green just yet. They have to sort out the order here. It looks like we still have 11 cars on the lead lap. And as you can see, not everybody gets to be waved around. Some of those back markers will be put on the inside line there. That's the way they did it back then. The number 4 of Luke Doran is on the outside. It's basically a single file restart, except for the fact that the back markers will be on the inside line there. And it looks like the rest of the field is... no, that is the field. Sorry. And of course we still have a few guys going around and coming up to the back of the pack there. Going into lap number 63, folks. Luke Doran is your leader on that high side in the number 4 car. The bottom side are back markers. That is the number 20 of Bruce Pearson. Then it's the 86 of Sean Mazakis.
Green, green, green.
And there we go. Luke has a good start there. Tristan Udaferis also has a good start. The back markers are giving them the room there. Jim Foskett in 3rd position on the high side of the number 20 car. Lee Tidwell in that 42 machine with the Pepsi sponsoring. He's had a great restart there as well. Also benefited from that late yellow, for the pit stops, and he's picked up quite a bit of positions. He's up 10 positions from the start. And Ballesteros is passing Stouffer there. Now coming to the inside of Tidwell as well. And the 42 runs a little bit wide. Both Stouffer and Ballesteros get by him. Tristan Udaferis in 2nd position is getting pressure there from the 20 car, trying to unlap himself. That's Bruce Pearson. He's not racing for position there. Ballesteros is in 3rd, using the draft of the 20. Then it's the 47 and 13, Stouffer and Foskett side by side. Ooh, that 42 almost lost it there. Good thing we have a big apron here. Losing a few positions, back in 8th. Skylar Grissom in 10th. Luke Doran 1.2 seconds clear of Tristan Udeferis, and Tristan is seeing the pressure mount up behind him. Drew Ballesteros is in 3rd and closing in, and then it's Chris Stouffer and Jim Foskett behind that back marker, the number 20 of Bruce Pearson. Pate Albin down to pit road. Ooh, hope he didn't get a speeding penalty here. Ooh, that doesn't look good. And then he takes a tow. He's actually out of the race. He is out of the race. Luke Doran's advantage is shrinking rather rapidly. Tristan Udeferis closing in on him, and he's pulling along Drew Ballesteros in 3rd position. Then we have the number 20 car back marker. Then it's Stouffer and Jim Foskett. Jim looks like he's losing out a little bit there. Look at the gap between Stouffer and Jim Foskett. That number 4 car is definitely starting to slow down compared to these guys. There they are. They caught up with him. Luke Doran. Looks like the 20 is giving way to Stouffer finally. There comes Tristan Udeferis going for the lead. And it looks like he can make that work. And he brings Drew Ballesteros with him. Number 4 maybe asked a little bit too much of his tires right there at the restart. Tristan Udeferis and Drew Ballesteros have passed him. 2 Fords in the lead at this point. Bobby Petricka is on pit road. If he keeps it rolling a little bit longer, he can still gain another position because Albin has left the building. There comes Ballesteros to the inside of the 10. 2 wheels nipping the grass there. And Stouffer is also closing in here. Doran again under pressure. Oh boy. Ah, there we are. Udeferis definitely under pressure from Drew Ballesteros. We can ride along with Drew here for a little bit. Yeah, look at the gain. Oh, look at the gain. Ah, that is going pretty rapidly here. He had to get out of that. Using a little bit more track there, that 22 driver. That's interesting to see. And again, Doran hanging on to 3rd there, but Stouffer starting to push. Stouffer coming to the inside. Ooh, Doran's got a little bit of a connection issue. He's blinking in and out of the race. Yeah, he's taking the higher side just to be safe there. Stouffer and Bratka are looking to come by him. Bratka on the inside. And there we have Ballesteros side by side for the lead. He thinks the better of it. Stouffer in trouble there. Bratka didn't pass him yet. And Ballesteros is trying really hard on Tristan, but it's not working just yet. Now he's trying the inside. He's got that nose alongside. He's got the shorter line here. He is ahead at the line. Drew Ballesteros is your new leader, and it looks like he's throwing it into turn number 1 there quite a bit faster than Tristan. Bratka in 3rd, Stouffer in 4th, Doran now in 5th. Foskett a little bit further back. And it looks like that 22 likes it high there and leaving the door open for the 10. And it looks like Tristan Udeferis is getting close again to picking that lead back up. Not quite. Ooh, that's getting close. Some good racing between these guys here. Bratka sitting in the front row seat there, watching the fight for the lead and ready to pick up the pieces if they mess up. Stouffer into 13 is hanging with these guys. Ballesteros still has it. Bit of a touch there between Udeferis and Bratka. And Bratka taking advantage of that wiggle the 10 had. Picks up 2nd position. Looks like Ballesteros is chugging away a little bit there. Stouffer closing in on that green number 10 as well. And the car you see on the lower side back there, that's the 20 making way for the faster cars. The 20 is Bruce Pearson, and the car passing him was Jacob Aubry. Bratka closing in on Ballesteros. Udeferis having much more trouble keeping up. Stouffer coming to his inside. Looks like Stouffer is going to pick up 3rd position and try to go after those 2 leaders. There you see it. Bratka behind Ballesteros. Coming to the inside. It's a Ford in the lead. It's a Chevy in 2nd. And we can look inside there with Bratka. Looks like he can keep up with the pace here really nicely. Lap number 82, folks. We're just past halfway. And he is trying to get close underneath the 22 car there. Can't quite get it done. Stouffer has left Udeferis behind a little bit. Luke Doran now coming to the 10. And Stouffer trying to work his way forward. He's about a half a second behind Bratka. That seems pretty consistent at this point. Let's go and check on Skylar Grissom. He is in 9th position behind Lee Tidwell. There comes Grissom, passing Tidwell for 8th position. Good move. Ballesteros hanging on to the lead. Bratka in 2nd. Stouffer in 3rd. And it looks like Doran is coming underneath Tristan Udaferis as well. Udaferis now in 5th position. Then it is Jacob Wobry in the 6th position. Jim Foskett is about 2.5 seconds behind Wobry. Ballesteros now coming under pressure from Russell Bratka. Russell Bratka puts it on the inside there. Back where he started. And it looks like he's got it. Well, Ballesteros is coming back. Side by side in 3 and 4. Looks like Bratka's got it at the line. Ooh, Bratka going, oh no! Bratka going wide, coming off the tri-oval. Pushes it into the wall. Let's bring that back for you here really quickly. They're into the tri-oval, and Bratka has got it at the line and then just washes up. Bounces off the wall. He can save it, but man, that cost him some speed. The 13 has passed him. Nicholas Post is in the pits in the number 9 car. Quickly check on how far we are into the stint. Oh, we've got a ways to go. Ballesteros is hanging on to that lead. It wasn't easy, but as soon as Bratka had him, he made a little mistake and washed up into the wall, giving the lead right back to Drew Ballesteros. One lonely Thunderbird in the lead here, followed by 3 Chevys. And it looks like Doran has brought it back past Tristan Udaferis. Jacob Wobry is closing in on these guys as well. We got a fairly good group here, 6 cars that are pretty close together for the lead. The next car is 2.8 seconds down, and that's Jim Foskett. Ballesteros hanging on to that lead with Stouffer closing in. Liston going down pit road. Ooh, really fast entry there. Ballesteros getting a little bit of breathing room. Stouffer dealing with Bratka. And as you can see there, 5 cars pretty much in a group for the lead, and then Wobry is really not that far behind, less than a second. Foskett is having trouble with the pace. He's 3.1 seconds behind Wobry. Skylar Grissom seems to be closing in on Foskett now. Shaughnessy close by. Lee Tidwell is about 2.2 seconds behind. Ballesteros and Stouffer pulling a little bit away from Bratka. It looks like Stouffer is having a little trouble staying with Ballesteros at this point, and Bratka at his turn also having a little bit of trouble staying with Stouffer. Bratka and Doran and Udiferis are close together. Wabry is losing out a little bit. He must have had some kind of issue. Skylar Grissom in that group here behind Foskett. And it looks like Skylar is getting ready to make a move. He can't quite get there yet. And at his turn, he's getting Lee Tidwell. No, I'm sorry, that is not Lee Tidwell. That is the... that is that's Lawrence Shaughnessy in that number 9 machine. That has passed Skylar Grissom. Lap times at the front, very consistent. Mid-33s, all 4 drivers there in that group. All 5, I should say. Bratka had a little bit lesser lap there. Bratka now to the tail end of this group in that 11 car. And they shook off Wobry. There goes Wobry into the pits. He's had enough of those tires. He needs new ones. Don't believe he's going to need fuel that bad, but he's looking for new rubber and filling it up. He may be thinking, it's going to be tight to make it to the end. But that may be what he's thinking. If I get new tires now, I might make it to the end. Ballesteros still leading. Wobry coming back out. And as you can see on the left side of your screen, he's in 11th now, and he is no longer on the lead lap. Green flag pit stops are costing you at least 1 lap. Stouffer seems to be inching towards Ballesteros once again. Bratka has had enough of those tires. He is going in for new ones. Yeah, he's definitely scraped that wall. Ballesteros still hanging on to that lead fairly nicely here with about 2 car lengths in between. Doran in third. Tristan Udeferis sticking with Doran. Behind him, it looks like people have lost contact. That is Shaughnessy. That's dropped back. Foskett. Grissom is on his own there. Ooh! What was happening there on the straight? Focus maybe going off a little bit. Spinning tires, I don't know. He is taking it to pit road and also a little bit fast on the entry there. Ballesteros, once again, those lap times extremely consistent for as long as he's been on these tires, and as much trouble as we see some of the other drivers have. I am impressed by the fact that he can keep this very, very consistent. 33.5, 33.6, and it doesn't fluctuate that much. Stouffer, same thing. He is also running 33 mids, 5 or 6. And hanging with Ballesteros there very nicely. I'm kind of thinking Stouffer is being patient here. He doesn't necessarily have to lead. He just needs to stay in touch with Ballesteros. Doran also running mid-33s, and Tristan Udeferis, same thing. Then Shaughnessy of 33.6 last lap, so he's not that far behind. He may have had an issue that caused him to lose some time. Foskett is fairly close behind him. Lee Tidwell is 10 seconds behind Foskett. Bradkett is back out on the track. He's 1 lap down from the leaders at this point, and he is running in 8th position. Looks like Doran and Udeferis are splitting apart a little bit there. Lap times for Tristan are moving up a little bit by about 1/10 of a second compared to Doran, that is. Tires are becoming a factor for these guys, and it is very obvious that the ones that are running really hard at the beginning, right after the pit stop, are paying for it later. Being smooth is very, very important in these cars, and that's what I think the strong point of Drew Ballesteros is. He's very smooth. The less they have that car moving side to side, the better it is, obviously, for those tires. Running the high line every once in a while gives those tires a bit of a break. If you are in a higher line, the radius of the turn is a little bit wider, and that means that you get a little bit less temperature buildup in those tires. And you may think, well, those are differences that are not very big. That's true, they're not very big, but it's the little things that count when everybody is on similar pace. Shelton coming down pit road. And I will say, we could see that already in qualifying. These guys are very, very evenly matched. We have a lot of green flag racing here. That is what stretches the field, but that doesn't mean that these guys are not very, very competitive. Pretty much everybody down to the 12th position is running in those mid-33s. Todd Liston had a little bit slower lap, but everybody is right around that same mark there. And obviously what costs those drivers every once in a while is the ones that make little mistakes scrubbing the wall or getting a little sideways off the turn. That's where you lose your time if it's that close. It looks like Doran is catching up with Stouffer. Stouffer having a little bit more trouble keeping up with Drew. And Tristan Udeferis is now 2.4 seconds further back. So he is not, he is actually in the 34s right now. He's having trouble. Everybody around him at this point is quicker. Even Lawrence Shaughnessy behind him, although Lawrence still has 4 seconds to make up before he gets to that green car. Luke Doran has, ooh, it looks like Stouffer's coming into the pits. The number 13 getting ready for new tires. Tristan Udeferis follows that example. That is probably a wise choice. Lap number 113 of 160. Yeah, Stouffer takes all fours, and so does Tristan. Ballesteros coming down pit road, giving up the lead. He is most certainly calculating backwards from the finish. He can definitely make this his last pit stop as far as fuel is concerned. So if he doesn't abuse his tires, he's in good shape. And that, folks, puts Luke Doran in the lead. Luke is now coming down pit road as well. Let's see how we were doing on fuel there. Yeah, about 55. They were getting pretty close. It was all under green. Shaughnessy is still out there. 62 laps on the fuel stint. That means that Lawrence is picking up the lead at this point. And Ballesteros is back out. 6th position. And Stouffer passes Ballesteros. They've both been in the pits now, so Stouffer is actually gained on the pit stop. Doran coming back out. Being put a lap down by Shaughnessy. Stouffer is 1.5 seconds ahead of Drew Ballesteros, and that is significant, although they're not leading right now. But once everybody ahead of them goes to pit road, oh no, Doran is actually ahead of these guys, and so is Bradka, but Bradka has pitted last on lap 100. So Doran is actually the one that will be picking up the lead as, well, Foskett is still not pitting, but Tidwell and Shaughnessy are. So once Foskett gets into pit road, which won't be that long, we have Luke Doran. I'm sorry, Luke Doran just got passed. What happened to Luke Doran? There he is. My bad. He'll be picking up the lead here shortly. Bratka will be in second, Stouffer and Ballesteros. So Ballesteros has lost a little bit of time on that pit stop. And that could be the entry to the pits, the fact that he is a little bit careful on the pit speed. As you know, folks, these cars don't have pit lane speed limiters. You have to do that yourself. Watching your speed in the pits is something you have to do all by yourself. Lee Tidwell in the 42 in pit road. Jim Foskett's currently the leader, the 47 car. The 22 of Ballesteros is already ahead of him. There he comes into the pits. So your new leader will be Luke Doran, number 4. And he's actually got quite a bit of a gap there on Bratka. There's 4.4 seconds between these guys, so that is quite significant. Stouffer passing Bratka. Ooh, Bratka is slowing down for some reason. Stouffer and Ballesteros are passing him. Do keep in mind that Bratka pitted last on lap 100, so his tires are quite a bit older. Well, I wouldn't say quite a bit, but there's Foskett coming back out. But Bratka's tires are somewhat older. Ballesteros in second position now. Stouffer in third. Coming up and looking on the high side. And now we'll be waiting to see if they can catch up with Luke Doran. Nicholas Post going very high there to make way for the leaders. And it looks like Ballesteros is nibbling away from that lead from Doran. It is 4.3. He is a little bit faster, Ballesteros is, but it's not by much. It's pretty close. Lower 33s on these fresh tires. Stouffer hanging with him. Yeah, Ballesteros is gaining, but it's not going very rapidly. Let's look at some of the other guys here. Bratka is in fourth, and he is starting to lose a little bit. His lap times are coming up. Tristan Udeferis is in fifth position with Lawrence Shaughnessy right on his tail here. And it looks like Lawrence is actually taking that position away from him. Ooh, little bit of a touch there. Lawrence is picking up fifth position here. Whew. They're getting pretty close. Wabry is behind him by about 5.3 seconds. Then is Skylar Grissom in 8th. Jim Foskett in 9th. Bruce Pearson in 10th. Drew Bellis 10th of a second per lap. Let's bring the dashboard in there and see how fast they're actually going. down to about 150 plus in the turns. On the main straightaway, up to 175, I would say. Pretty much 180. And I believe that's what they're doing on the back straight as well. Bruce Pearson is on pit road from 11th position. And there he goes back out again. Luke Doran still in the lead, 3.6 seconds to Drew Ballesteros. It looks like that Ballesteros is a little bit quicker, but it is not by much. It's really only a tenth of a second per lap, so it's going to take Drew a little bit to get up there. We're on lap 129 going into 130. Nicholas Post on pit road in the number 9 Napa car. Shaughnessy in that number 9 here, the other number 9, I guess. He's being scored as 3. He is in 5th, and Tristan Udeferis is trying to stay with him and not doing too bad of a job at it. And let's see, we've got Stouffer trying to put up the pressure a little bit more on Ballesteros. They just went past Ben Shelton. Stouffer actually a little bit quicker than Ballesteros on that last lap. It looks like Doran is down to 3 seconds of advantage there. It looks like he had a bit of a slip up at this last lap here, 33.7. One of the hardest parts, I think, personally, is if you're in the lead and you're racing all by yourself, you got to stay focused, and you can't. You tell yourself you can take it easy, but you don't want to, because when you take it easy is when you start to lose your focus, and that's when the little mistakes start slipping in there. But then again, if you keep going all out, you're wasting your resources. Ballesteros is now under 3 seconds, 2.8. Stouffer is, I believe, just being patient. I don't think he's trying to pressure Ballesteros all that hard. That would slow both of them down. I think they just understand that, hey, if we don't make life too hard for each other at this point, Let's check and see if we can get to Doran first, and then we'll start battling for that win. Both of them are quicker than Doran at this point. Shaughnessy coming down pit road. Ooh, it looks like he had an issue. He blew the engine. See if we can bring that back. Ah, that's what happened. A touch between Tristan and him. Noses it into the wall. That was pretty much it. We can give you that one more time here. Tristan Udeferis trying to stay down, and he can't keep it down enough to avoid running into that number 9. Very unfortunate for Lawrence. That was definitely not his fault. On pit road, engine repairs can be somewhat costly when it comes to the time in the pits. There's Luke Doran by himself, 2.6 seconds ahead of Drew Ballesteros. Looks like he's regained his groove again. He's back in the mid-33s, 33.58. Ballesteros, pretty much equal in speed here. Stouffer as well. Bratka is about half a second slower. Oops. Tristan Udeferis now in 5th, obviously. Lawrence is still on pit road there. As said, folks, no fast repairs for these boys. They have to deal with it. There you have the top 3 in one shot. Right around 2 seconds, a little bit under even. Doran is starting to fall off a little bit. Lap times are coming up. And that kind of shows you the difference between the driving of Doran and Ballesteros. Ballesteros can keep those lap times right around where they are, no matter how old those tires get. He is extremely smooth. Laps are starting to tick away, though. I mean, we're already on lap 142, so we have 19 to go. Hats off to all drivers. I think most of them have done a phenomenal job. We have seen a very long green stints, very few cautions. It looks like Shaughnessy is still on pit road there. That, well, like I said, that could be a fairly lengthy pit stop. He didn't leave yet. There you see them closing in visually. Doran is definitely losing on Ballesteros. Ballesteros actually did a 33.46, a pretty good lap there. That was pretty much 0.2 of a second quicker than Doran. Stouffer hanging with him. Bratka now 12 seconds or better. He's got Tristan Udeferis closing in on him. Lap times for Doran are fluctuating a little bit more than those of Ballesteros. He now just ran a 33.47. Let's check on Skyler real quick. Skyler is in 8th position in that 24 car. He's the final car on the lead lap. Well, I believe the question here is not so much whether Ballesteros could catch up the Doran and pass him. I think he could. The question is whether there's enough laps left for him to do so. We are going into 148 here, and we're still at about 1.7 seconds, and the lap times between Doran and Ballesteros are really getting more equal now. Skyler Grissom has passed Russell Bratka for 7th position. Shaughnessy is still on pit road. Todd Liston is coming in. Bratka has been on pit road. Shelton is coming in. And that kind of tells you that those guys were running out of rubber because they should have been able to make it on fuel. Only one I doubt a little bit is Jacob Wobry. He pitted last on 97. So he has got a lot of... he's already got more than 50 laps on that fuel tank. We can see that on the strategy board if he's up there. Yeah, there he is. He might... yeah, it's going to be close. It's going to be close. Doran and Ballesteros lap times are very, very equal. Doran has picked up the pace. In fact, their last lap was exactly equal. Doran 33.48. Ballesteros, same thing. So these guys are, are equally fast. And that means that Ballesteros in this pace is not going to make it. Stouffer is dropping off a little bit here. Last lap time 0.2 of a second slower than Ballesteros. It looks like Ballesteros and Doran had a little bit left here to pick up the pace by about 1/10 of a second. And once again, you can see on the left top of your screen how close it is. 33.51 for the both of them. I'm not going to talk about those thousandths of a second because that's just a blink of an eye. Bratka's got new tires and he's flying. 32.7. He's in 8th position and he is 28 seconds behind Grissom. So I don't even think he's going to make that to catch Grissom. Looks like Ben Shelton had an issue. Got a little loose there by himself, didn't hit anything, keeps going. Yeah, that advantage for Doran is staying pretty consistent at this point. 1.7 seconds. He is not losing. In fact, Ballesteros' last lap was a little bit slower, 33.7, so that may have been a backmarker or a little slip up. Stouffer is also dropping off a little bit, 33.7. I think Luke's got this in the bag. Lap 154. We going into lap 155. 6 laps to go. Ooh, Skylar Grissom is in trouble there. Let's see what happened to him. Ran wide into the wall, right in front of Drew Ballesteros. Luckily, nothing happened there. Stouffer has also gone by. And it looks like we have the 15 of Shelton a little bit blinking there. Yep, Shaughnessy is sitting this one out. Ballesteros is dropping off. I think he sees that he can't make it, and he's saving it to bring it home in second. And meanwhile, Luke Doran is just keeping going at 33.5. But it looks like Ballesteros is not able to catch up anymore. Going into lap 159, folks. Nope, sorry, 158. My bad. Took the lead at the last pit stop there and never looked back. Luke Doran in that number 4 machines. Very strong performance. Car still looks very clean. 2 more laps to go for Luke. Last lap time for Luke was a 33.7. He knows that he's got this in the bag. He needs to bring it home. Ballesteros 33.9. Stouffer 34.2. I think we really have this race run right now. If nobody does anything really stupid, we are looking at Luke Doran taking the win here in Atlanta in the 87 NASCAR machines. Chevy Ford, Chevy Ford. The white flag is out for Luke. He's on the backstretch. One more time around, folks. And there we have it. Luke Doran wins here in Atlanta. Drew Ballesteros is going to bring it home in second place. He ran a very strong race, had to come from way back. Had a little issue there, we'll ask him about it. Chris Stouffer brings it in third. Then it's Tristan Udeferis that brings it home in fourth position. Jim Foskett in fifth. Jacob Wolbury in sixth. Russell Bratka in seventh. And he did get Skylar Grissom because Skylar made a mistake there. And then it's Bruce Pearson and Nicholas Post rounding out your top 10 positions here. There we have the celebratory donuts from the number 4 car. There you have them, folks. All right, let's bring up your results. there you have the. No, that's not correct. That's the qualifying results. We've got to fix that. There they are. All right, let's go find some drivers to talk to. Stouffer, there he is. Chris, this is Mark in the booth. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Chris, it looked like you had a very strong car here. You guys were, all three of you, were very equal in that final stint since the last pit stops. It looked like Doran picked up that lead during those pit stops, really, and he had an actual 4 second lead when the pit stops were all said and done. Were you surprised by that?
Yeah, I was. I have a feeling he might have only took two tires there, and might have been how he got up there like that. Maybe he just had an awesome pit stop. Either way, it was excellent driving by him tonight to get up there.
Absolutely, especially under green. Is how tricky is it to get into the pits and slow that car down in time? I've seen several times that drivers, had a little trouble locking up the brakes. I believe that you actually got it pretty sideways at some point.
Well, I don't remember getting sideways myself, but I do. I will say that I practiced pitting in several times before the start of the race, just because yeah, it can be tricky. You can. It's one of these pit entrances where if you hit it just right, you feel like you come in too slow, and so you try to come in a little faster next time, and you can catch yourself out. And I was able to not do that tonight. I did. I Tonight's race was really kind of a death by a thousand cuts kind of a thing for me. I know third place is good, and I ran up front all night. I got a little bit of damage there early on, and that caution, a one and only caution, came out for whatever reason. I didn't go to the pits because I just pitted and get my damage fixed. So yeah, I was unfortunate there, but the walk away with third place is good.
Absolutely, you can be pretty happy with that, and I mean, regardless of where you finished, if you're competitive, that must feel good at some anyway.
Oh, for sure, especially with these guys. Ran with them last year, and it's a lot of fun. And I look forward to all these races because it's great good guys we have here.
Absolutely. And how do you feel about the car compared to what we had before? I mean, I'm sure you guys all ran the modern NASCAR machines before this car came out. How do you feel about it?
I love this car a lot. The main reason I'm in this league and is because we run that car. And you know I I'll be honest with you, I don't do a lot of NASCAR stuff on iRacing. I just dabble in it. I'm mostly an IndyCar guy, so this is kind of totally out of my element, you can say. So you know, uh, it does handle a lot different than the regular Cup cars, and as it should. And it's a lot more of a handful. There's a lot more strategy involved, so I like it.
Cool, absolutely. Well, so do I. I love all that old stuff. The older, the better. All right, Chris, thank you very much, man. Once again, congratulations on a well deserved third position. Very competitive race for you. Any love yous and thank yous you want to throw into the world?
Thank you for Skylar for putting on the league. I really appreciate it. For you up here in the booth, I know these long green runs can get a little, I don't know, don't really want to say boring, but I know they can get a little drawn out. So, I thank you for everything you do up here in the booth.
You're most welcome. Thank you very much for the kind words, Chris. All right, let's move on to Drew there. Drew, there was a restart where you all of a sudden did not have any speed left and you almost got run into the back by a couple of drivers there. What happened?
Yeah, basically, I started out in first, which usually helps me get a jump. And when I went down to second, I mean, it took me until the back stretch to even get it in gear. I kept slowly going to clutch. I mean, it just would not shift on me. It would go to third and fourth, but it would not go to second. So, lost a lot of time. That put me behind. Thankfully, I was able to recover, but after that, Luke made a really good two-car call, and it was a little too much to make up.
And so was that a hardware issue that wouldn't let you put it in gear at home with your stick, or was it something that the simulator was doing wrong?
I don't know exactly. I didn't really take the time to try to figure it out. It worked fine on the next restart, but I'll have to go and check. This is a new shifter that I got last week, so maybe it might have been a hardware issue. It could have very well been a user issue as well of just not getting through the gears cleanly, but it won't happen again, tell you that.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm sure you'll get it figured out, Drew. Then, basically after that, you'd spent some time working your way forward. That went fairly smooth, I would say. Then after that final pit stop, it looked like Luke had the better of all of you there on the pit stop, and came out with, when it's all said and done, about 3.5, 4 seconds of a lead. And basically, the rest of the race was for you guys to try and catch up. Now, it looked to me a little bit like Chris and you were not really giving each other a hard time and just working on trying to catch Luke. Did I see that right?
Yeah, Chris and I always really race well together. He's very clean and he takes his time. And we both had a good feeling that Luke took two tires on that last stop. For him to go from being behind me by half a second to ahead by 4 seconds, it was pretty clear that if we just kind of took our time, his tires might wear out. But that's one of the things that's ever changing with the tire wear on the system is as they make edits and updates to the car. Sometimes, I think tire wear was a lot bigger issue last season, and this season is not so much the case. The right front you got to take care of, but those left sides, two tires, it can definitely get you. I'm surprised it could get them 60 more laps, but yeah, it was a great call by Luke to do that.
Absolutely. So, well, it looked for a while that you were gaining and gaining and gaining, and then it kind of evened out. I think about 5, 6 laps before the end, it kind of evened out pretty much. And so it could have been. We'll ask him in a little bit, but it could have been that he just kind of played with you a little bit as well there.
Yeah, I was really trying to take care of the line, and he was getting in a little bit more shallow into the corner than I was. I was trying to make as much of a arc as I could, and I was right on that line. And any slip up or anything getting in the way was going to tear me up. And I think it was one of the lap cars came up on track and decided to take my line, and I had to go up high to avoid him. And that just took away any momentum I had, and really destroy the right front. So from that point forward, I was just losing 1 or 2 tenths a lap after that.
I see. Okay. Well, Drew, still, I think it was a very strong run there, especially considering the fact that you had to come back from, I believe it was somewhere like 14th or 15th position when you had your little issue with the shifter there. So, congratulations to you, man. A very well deserved second place. A good job for you. Any love yous and thank yous you want to throw out?
Yeah, thank you to you for being here and taking care of us week in and week out. And shout out to Skylar for putting on the league. He does a great job. I know he was trying to do double duty between watching the Alabama game and racing at the same time. So I'm glad he had a good night on both fronts. And then shout out to friends and family who are watching back home. We'll go get them next week. I felt like we gave one away this week and last week. So next week we're gonna take it to him.
All right. Well, we'll hold you to that promise there, Drew.
All right, thank you.
All right, Luke. So the question is, did you take two tires on that final pit stop?
Yes, I did.
Okay, yeah, you trying to hold back on the secrets here, obviously, but that was obviously the winning move there. You came back out with 4 seconds of a lead to those guys. They were coming closer to you. Were you worried? Did you have it under control? How was it?
Well, I was hoping to have a little bit bigger lead than 4 seconds, but I tiptoed on the pit road a little bit too much, and I was definitely worried. I did not. I knew if I could keep them at least over 3 seconds after about 10 laps, I was probably gonna uh, hold them off because after a few laps, it starts to equal out.
Yes, obviously after a while it's the difference is becoming smaller and smaller and smaller. So it looked to me like you had it pretty much under control there. At some point, you actually lowered your lap times by about 2/10 of a second when Drew did the same thing. You actually also went back down under the 33.5 for a couple of laps there. So you still had a little bit of reserve, that seemed.
Yeah, I just didn't know how much tire I was saving because most of the race I was just pacing myself behind people. So when you get out there by yourself, you don't. It's hard to tell exactly how much tire you're saving, and when they're catching you or you catch them by a lap, and they have on a different tire strategy, it's just hard to tell, if they're pushing or not. And apparently, I did. I saved enough because I just let it go at the end.
Yeah, I can understand it. By yourself, you really don't have any reference point to let you know how you're doing compared to the other ones at that point with similar strategy. So I can see that being a little bit tricky there for you. But you made it work, Luke. A very strong run for you. You've been doing very good all throughout this series. I commend all you guys for the way you race. We have very little cautions in this series, and I think everybody is doing a phenomenal job in these older cars. They're not that easy to drive. I've tried them out myself. I'm not really a NASCAR guy, but I can definitely tell the difference between the modern car and this '87 car. So good job for all of you, and especially for you, Luke, for bringing it home in first place. Great strategy move there. So congratulations once again, my friend. Any love yous and thank yous you want to throw into the world?
Thank you to you for doing this, for picking us up for season two. Thank you to Skylar for putting on the league and all the guys that raced real clean tonight.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Luke. We'll see you next time, my friend. You'll be jumping up in the standings, I'm sure, and hopefully you can keep that momentum going, man.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Have a good one.
You too. All right, folks, there you heard from all three of them, Chris Stouffer, Drew Ballesteros, and Luke Doran. As we heard, Drew's slow start there at some point may have been a shifter issue, so that explains how that happened. Looked to me like Skylar Grissom was the biggest victim of it because he got stuck behind Drew there for a little bit. But he recovered from it. He worked his way back forward. Luke made a good strategy call on that last pit stop, taking two tires. He obviously you never know exactly if it's going to be good enough, but it turned out to work perfectly. He had enough in reserve there to hold off Drew Ballesteros and Christopher. So he takes away the win here. In fourth place, we have Tristan Udiferis in that Ford, and then Jim Foskett, Jacob Wobry, Russell Bratka, Skylar Grissom, Bruce Pearson, and Nicholas Post round out your top 10. It looked like we lost, I believe, four drivers there: Albin, Patricia, Muzakis, and Jay Malin. And unfortunately, for them, the damage was too much to continue on. But I think everybody, like I said just a minute ago, once again, everybody did a fantastic job. Backmarkers do put very much effort into letting the top racers go by and race for the lead and for the leading positions. Very few cautions. Obviously, incidents are going to happen. We saw that between Tristan and who was it? Lawrence there at the end. A little bit of a racing incident, I would call that. And obviously, somebody has the short end of the stick. Was Lawrence this time, and other times it will be the other way around. I'm afraid I can't tell you exactly where we're going next week because the schedule was not up there yet. But next week we will be back with the WOSCRL Throwback Series, sponsored by Future Designs Building Materials. We appreciate their sponsorship. We appreciate Skylar Grissom's efforts to putting this league on. It's a fun league. There's good racing going on here. So hopefully next time, folks, we'll see you again in a week. And until then, I hope you all stay healthy and take care of one another.